Well, hey again, everyone. This is Bob from Hot Rock Central, and in this video, we're going to review a Giandel pure sine wave inverter, 4,000 watts. And against my better judgment of getting one of these kind of inverters, because it's the kind that uses replaceable fuses, their reputation is above average, I would say. I've seen lots of stories of people saying they didn't last very long, and then I've seen other stories where people have had them run 24/7s without any issues for long periods of time. So I decided to give this company a try, and because my main system, the 6,000 watt system I've got, during the summertime can get pretty strained, almost to near maximum capacity. I needed something else to augment that, to take some of the load off of it. So I'm going to give this a try and see how it does. And we're going to put this through a torture test here, and just to see exactly what kind of power it can put out and what kind of surge it can take. But I've got all the screws out of it now, and first thing I'm impressed about is it has some very nice battery connectors here. And let's see, let's open up the hood here. I've already got the screws out and get a look on the inside there. And everything looks pretty good as far as electronics. What I was primarily concerned with was, well, let me scoot this up here this way. What I was primarily concerned with was what size wire they had feeding the output. And for a 4,000 watt inverter, you would have to have at least a number 10 wire. And sure enough, they have a number 10 wire in here, so they're not scrimping as far as the wire size to power this thing out. And like I said, this has internal fuses in it that if they pop, you've got to crack this thing open to get to it. And one thing I don't like about this unit is, versus other ones that I've seen, you take the lid off and you've got access to the fuses pretty easy. You take a pair of needle nose pliers, pull them out, put new ones in. But they've got this here where they've got two boards. There's a top board and there's a lower board, and there's all these interconnecting wires, so you can't really separate the components apart where you can easily get at the fuses there. So, and you've got one there, you've got one there, and then you've got another one down there, and some more down there. And if you did have to replace the fuses in this thing, it would be quite difficult to get at. So anyways, not real impressed about how easy of access it is to get to the fuses if you need to replace them. And the case itself is nice thick aluminum. And I noticed that all of the FETs are right up against the aluminum housing here. So some of the heat dissipation will definitely come out through the casing, and then of course you've got the fan that's going to be helping along too. So we're going to put this thing back together and get it all hooked up and put it through a torture test and see just exactly what it can do. So stay tuned. Alright, we're back now for the torture test for this Giandel 4,000 watt inverter. And start off with, got 3-aught wire hooked up to the battery terminals here. Now, one thing I don't agree with, in their user manual, they say or recommend that you use number 3 wire. Well, number 3 wire is only good for 165 amps. And a 4,000 watt inverter at 24 volts is, as I say right there, is going to draw 200 amps. So the minimum that you would have to use for battery terminals is number 1 wire. And I'd go a step further and go right up to 1-aught, just to be on the safe side. And then having this hooked up as an emergency backup for my other inverter over there, I've got it tied into my electrical system with twin number 10 wires. But for this test here, we're not going to be using my electrical system. We're going to be running right off the outlets, off the inverter, into two 1,500 watt heaters. There's one right there and one right there. and then that 8,000 BTU air conditioner will be hooked up to it also. So that's going to be a total load of 3,850 watts. But the point of this torture test is to load this inverter down as heavy as I can and try to start that air conditioner up and see if it will actually start up. Now, instead of dragging you through all that, I've already done that test in advance, and I had both heaters lit up full tilt boogie, 3,000 watts running off the inverter. Turn on the air conditioner, and it started up without a struggle. Not even a warning beep from the inverter there. So that was really impressive. I'm totally astonished that that happened. So I'm really impressed by that. So really, the only thing left now is to turn all this stuff on at once and let it run for about 15 or 20 minutes and see how this inverter holds up. Now, as far as the electrical stats, right now it's on idle, so it's putting out 119 volts. And there's the sine wave on it. It's got a picture-perfect sine wave. And let's test the hertz on this. All right. Get my test leads here. And hang on a second. As you can see right there, well, anyways, it's hard to see, but it's a perfect dead-on 60 hertz, which is amazing. You know, most of these things will be off a little bit, but that's right on the money. So what I want to do is I want to come back and see what all this looks like under a full load and see if it holds the 60 hertz, see if it holds a good sine wave, and see if there's any significant voltage drop on this. So we'll get this all started up here in just a minute. I'll be right back with everything running, and we'll see what it does. All right, the test is underway now, and let's see, we've got a drop of 1 volt, and we're drawing almost a full load here, about 3,800 watts. And the sine wave still looks picture perfect. And let's see what the hertz looks like. All right. Still at a perfect 60 hertz. So far, so good. All right. Now, it's been running now for about 3 or 4 minutes, and feeling the temperature of the cabinet here, and it's slightly warm, but it's not excessively hot. There is one little warmer spot right in there than the rest of it, but the fan's running, and hopefully it won't get any worse than that. So we'll let that run here for another 10 or 15 minutes and see how it holds up, and if no smoke comes out and no sparks start flying, then it looks like we've got a pretty damn good inverter here. So hang in there, we'll be right back. All right, well, we're coming to the end of the test now, and I did one other thing. I put a thermometer off the cooling fan there to see what the temperature is, and that's what it's putting out is 111 degrees. Now, since the start, this cabinet itself has got quite toasty. It's pretty warm. It's almost to the point where it would burn your hand. Now, let me put the thermometer on that and see what it reads. Alright, still climbing. That's getting pretty hot. All right, I'm shutting everything down here now. All right, so it looks like its cabinet's getting up to 150 degrees, and that's pretty warm. Those FETs in there are probably pretty toasty, and I don't know if this has any internal temperature shutdown on it, but FETs usually are when they get past 170 degrees, that's when they should shut down. So I'm not going to push it to that point where it might do that, but so far it looks like it's handling the wattage pretty good. I don't know that I would push this thing full-tail boogie full time. It's probably something you'd be better off just using full power intermittently. Now, one other thing that's about this inverter that I noticed in the manual is they recommended that you do not charge your batteries while using the inverter. Now, my interpretation of what they were saying about all that is that if you have a small battery set and you have a lot of solar panels, and let's say you've got a cloudy day and the voltage coming off your charger is fluctuating quite a bit, this inverter may have trouble dealing with the voltage fluctuation coming in off the chargers. So I don't know what to say about that, but my system is big enough where the voltage fluctuation is minimal. So I'm not really too all worried about that, but that's something to think about. If you've got a small battery system and you've got a lot of charging power, a wide fluctuation in the battery voltage could have some effect on this inverter, and they say it could possibly damage it. So just be aware of that. But as far as everything else goes, this is a mighty impressive inverter, and I'd surely recommend any of my friends buy one of these if they're thinking about putting together a solar system. So there you go, folks. There's the torture test on this Giandel inverter, and I think it did pretty damn good. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Oh, but before I go, I got one other thing to add. One thing that was really impressive about this inverter that I didn't mention was when it kicked in a heavy load from a low load, usually what you'll see in an inverter is you'll see your lights flicker. They'll drop down, and on a lot of inverters, the light will drop down really low before it comes back up. On this inverter here, you barely even notice the flicker in the lights. The recovery speed at this inverter is just totally impressive. So there's another good thing about this inverter I wanted to pass along that you all might want to know. See you later.